mathematicians. Today we're going to look at some different multiplying polynomials by a monomial. So the first one should look very familiar. What property do we use to multiply 3 times x plus 2? The distributive property. To use the distributive property, we take our number out front and multiply it by all the pieces inside. So I have 3 times x and 3 times positive 2. 3 times x, 3x, and 3 times 2, positive 6. Can those two pieces go together? No, why not? One has an x, one does not. We're going to use that idea of the distributive property for the next couple of examples. So here, I have a times, in parentheses, a minus 3. What term is going to be distributed? The one out front, a. So I'm going to do a times a and a times negative 3. So a times a and a times negative 3. A times a is a squared, add your exponents, and a times negative 3, you put the number out front, negative 3a. Can these two pieces go together? No, why not? One has a squared, one does not. They have to have the exact same variable and exponent to get put together. Nice job. This time for number 3, we get a little bit more complicated. Out front is 5a squared. Notice that there are 3 pieces inside to distribute it to. So I need to take this 5a squared to all 3 pieces. So I'm going to have 5a squared times, what's the first piece? Negative 4a squared. We're also going to have 5a squared times, what's the second piece? 2a. And what's the last thing we should have? 5a squared times negative 7. So if there are 3 pieces inside, I should have 3 pieces altogether. Now we have to start multiplying these. And when we multiply, we learned we multiply the numbers. So 5 times negative 4, negative 20. And what do we do with these exponents? A squared times a squared. We add them. Okay. Here, 5 times 2 is positive or plus 10. And if we add our exponents, because it's multiplying, a cubed. What about our last piece? Negative 35a squared. Okay. So multiply this by each piece inside. Use our rules of exponent times another exponent to get our 3 pieces. Nice job. For number 4, how many distributives must we do? This one must be distributed, and this one must be distributed. So let's just start with our first one. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to how many pieces? All 3 of those. So 3 times our first one is 5x squared. What else? 3 times 2x and 3 times negative 4. 3 times 5, 15x squared. 3 times 2, positive 6x. And 3 times negative 4, negative 12. That is our first set of parentheses. What do I need to do for the second set? I need to distribute again. This time, what will we distribute? a negative x. So I need to take the negative x times all of these. Be very careful since it is a negative. Be careful of our negative signs. Distribute this next piece on your own. Let's see how you did. Negative x times 7x squared. And what's the next one? Negative x times 2x. And our last multiplication? Negative x times negative 3. This is a negative 1, so I have negative 1 times 7. Negative 7. X. What do I do with my exponents? Add them. X to the third. Here I have a negative 1 again, so my number piece will be negative 1 times 2. Negative 2. X to the second power. Add your exponents. And lastly, this is a negative times a negative, so a positive. Put the number in front, 3x. What's the last thing we can do for this problem? Combine pieces that match. And we should always start with the highest exponent. So our highest exponent here is x cubed. Are there any other x cubes to go with it? Nope, so it comes first. What is my next exponent? X squared. So I have 15x squared and what else? Minus 2x squared. 15x squared minus 2x squared. Positive 13x squared. What piece comes next? 6x plus 3x is positive 9x. And lastly, minus 12. So distribute, put together our pieces. Can anything else be combined? Nope, none of the exponents match. So that is our final answer. Make sure when you distribute, you pay close attention to our exponents and then put our pieces together that match. Our next example has an equation. So I need to look at both sides and solve for x. And I have a lot of work to do simplifying this before I can solve. First thing is I have to get rid of parentheses. And to do that, I need to check and see, is there any distributing? So I'm going to start on the left. Let's simplify everything over here. Can I distribute anything? If there is a number or monomial out front, times, then is when you distribute. Only if there is a times in between them can you distribute. So my first one will be 2x times x, and the next one, 2x times 4. 2x times x, add your exponents, and it is 2x squared. 2 times 4, positive 8x, and bring down the plus 7. Nothing over here can go together because one has x squared and the others do not. Look at the right-hand side. Is there any distributing I can do? Where at? The only parenthesis with something times in front is in the middle. Go ahead and distribute this middle piece and then bring down things and combine like terms. Let's see how you did. My first thing I get when I distribute, 2x times x. And the second piece, 2x times 1. 2x times x, what did you do with those exponents? Add them. 2x times 1, positive 2x. Bring these down. I don't really need these parentheses around here because is there anything outside to distribute? No. And that was a positive 2x squared, so I put a plus. What else am I missing? The plus 12. Looking at the right, is there anything else I can simplify? Yes, I have some x's that can go together and some numbers. So let's put our largest exponent out front, 2x squared. What goes together next? X and 2x make 3x. And lastly, 8 plus 12 make 20. Bring down what's on the left, and then we can solve. So let's get all my x squareds on the same side. How do I get rid of a 2x squared? Minus 2x squared. And what do I do on one side? Must do on the other. I'm going to line it up right underneath the piece that matches. So I should only do it once on each side. These cancel. And what happens over here? These cancel as well. Now I have 8x on one side and 3x on one side. Which one do I want to move? The 3x. How do you move a 3x? Minus 3x. And what I do on one side? Must do to the other. These cancel and these leave. 5x plus 7 equals 20. Next, how do I get rid of what's attached? Minus 7. Minus 7. 5x equals 13. And your last step to solve for x. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. X equals 13 over 5 or 2.6. So a lot of work here. Distribute. Be careful with our exponents. Combine things and start moving things over to get our x by itself. Nice job. We have one more example to look at, and this is actually a divide. All right. Dividing fractions, well, there's not a fraction here, but I can rewrite it as a fraction. Top divided by 4r. So that can go on bottom. So we can rewrite this as a divide problem. Top divide bottom. Now, when you do this, you must divide both pieces by 4r. So I will have 4r squared divided by 4r. Okay, so this one over that. Minus, and now I'm going to do 16r over 4r. Okay, so since there are two pieces on top, each one goes over the 4r. And now all I need to do is simplify. 4 over 4 cancels out. It's just 1. If I have 2 r's on top, 1 on bottom, what am I left with? After they cancel, 1r on top minus 16 divided by 4 is 4, and r over r cancels out, and we are left with r minus 4. So make sure each piece is over the bottom and simplify. Nice job today, mathematicians.